Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Ron.
Ron is here, everyone. Balake has the evening off. I'm joined instead by Jason Horvatic. How's it going, Jason?
Good. Really good. And you?
Thank you for joining me. Cheers.
Cheers to you, Aaron. It's 7:30 in the morning here, but why not?
I wasn't going to tell anybody that, but it's 7:30 in the evening for me, but you are in Australia. So one of us has to be drinking in the morning if we're going to do a drinking video. And just so happens that's you. I opted for some white wine this evening instead of my normal go-to, which would be Yingling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to cut back on the calories these days. I'm not sure that this is doing the trick, but it feels right.
I just have wild turkey.
There you
Simple.
go.
Yeah.
Now, in our past videos, I thought we'd done 3 together, but I was looking at it, and it might have only been 2. Do you remember us doing 2 or 2?
2.
We've done a little bit more of a debate style, and that's not really what we're doing this evening. And so how would you describe for the viewers what we're doing here this evening?
Well, I came back for inspiration, really, because I reflected on the first 2 and my interview with Chris Shelton, and that inspired me to write a long blog post. It was the longest on my website. And then a few other things dropped out of the hat after that, and then I ended up making a YouTube channel, which is something I just never thought, here we go, something I never thought I would do. Well, not for many years anyway. So I did. And I thought we could chat about the aftermath for me, if you will, of our debates and how I got here and what my current views are. But I also think where I've ended up might interest some people as well. I think it's still an aspect of Scientology that's not fully covered, I think. Hence the channel.
Now, I for the most part, always assume that anyone watching us today has never seen anything else either one of us has done. So I definitely am not going to assume that any of our viewers have seen our previous 2 chats. And I haven't even linked to them in the description down below because I just didn't occur to me to do that. But guys, I think our last 2 videos were titled, let me pull it up, like Scientology debate.
Yeah, debate. We had a debate with the atom bomb in between. Hilarious.
Let's see. Okay, so our first video was called Scientology Debate, Aaron versus Jason Horvatic. The second video was called Scientology Debate, Round 2, Jason Horvatic. I will try to remember to link to those in the description down below after we're done. But if anyone wants to watch those later, you can just look them up. Now, okay, after our last video, because let's be honest, most of my viewers, particularly the ones in the live chat, fair to say they see you as fair to say they see you as somewhat of a Scientology apologist. I mean, is that a fair? I'm not saying that's what you are. I'm saying that's how you're largely probably perceived in our previous conversations.
Oh, I think it was how I was perceived,
Okay.
and it's partly fair. I can explain that now that I have some
No. I just so after our second chat though, I was you said, you know what, my wife would like to say hi to you real quick, and I was like, oh, interesting. I just assumed that she was someone who's never been in Scientology. I don't know why I assumed that because because you haven't ever actually explained your. Well, I might be getting forgetful. Okay, you said my wife would like to say hi. I was like, okay. And then you introduce her. And you said, my wife was in the Sea Org and she was on the RPF. And I was instantly blown away. I was like, what?
And the RPF's RPF.
And the RPF's RPF. And I was like, how in the world? Because the stuff that we were talking about and the positions that you take, the attempting to take a neutral, what we'll just call a neutral position on Scientology issues, as if you didn't have your own history with it. It didn't even dawn on me that you could possibly be married to another XSO member.
Who's been in the shit worse than me. Yeah.
And then please correct me if I'm wrong. It was one of these things where like you're declared, but she's not yet. She's still hoping, kind of, she's where I was at some years ago where I was declared, but my wife wasn't. And we were completely lying to ourselves about the chances of her being able to maintain some sort of a connection to her family. And when you started to tell me some of this, I was like, oh, you guys have a story. And it's
So
you have a terrible story. And you're like, yeah, we do. And I'm like, how could you have let my audience hate on you so bad? I felt so bad because honestly, you're much more of a sympathetic character if people know that your attempt to kind of approach Scientology from some sort of a neutral academic standpoint is in spite of the fact that your life and your wife's life and your family's life has either been or is in the process of being completely destroyed by Scientology. I think it frames what you're it gives a different framing to what you're trying to do. You're not just being naive, or if you are, it's very intentionally so. It's not like you're oblivious or ignorant to the horrible destructive effects that Scientology has on families and people. I just think once I met your wife, it reframed for me all the conversations we'd already had.
And the kids, you met the kids too.
And the kids, yes.
Yeah. Well, you just said that you don't assume that your viewers have watched anything with us before.
True.
When I came on with you the first time, I assumed that everyone had watched my video with Chris Shelton, which seems ridiculous to assume because I knew that your subscriber count was way higher. But that's just the silliness. I think we discussed before that I thought that this community was just one cohesive community where everyone watched each other's videos and got along. I didn't know that there were actually disparate point of views and that level of nuance. And that's my bad, not knowing that. And then I also came on the back of some little mini Twitter storm I'd had with some people, and I was frustrated. And I think I had then frustrated you with the first text I'd sent you. So the first one we did was kind of combative in many ways. But also, and this is probably what I want to talk about most today, and we'll do this throughout the interview, I guess. But I'm still working through. I particularly was when we spoke the first 2 times. I was working through what my actual positions were, and I think some people think when I say things like I do a lot of things for the sake of the argument. I'm like, well, have you thought about this? It doesn't necessarily mean I hold that position. So then in saying some of the things, I think people thought, oh, that's his actual, like he believes this and this, but that's not. I was more just working through them. And what I'll say about the first 2 interviews is and the one with Chris is they've given me this gift of clarification where I now, I mean, it's all tentative, right? It's probably going to change in another few years. But at the moment, I feel very comfortable with where I sit on Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, the Church of Scientology. So you can ask me directly now, or I can explain via some posts I've made and so on. But yeah, I reckon there was some concepts in the first few interviews, even when your audience would ask me, and I would sort of skirt around them a bit because I wasn't really sure where I was sitting. And then the other thing I'll say is it is very new. I was declared in November last year, so we're nearly a year on now, and there is major family stuff going on. My wife's uncle and auntie run the church here in Perth, and their 2 daughters, her cousins. These people, they grew up. Anne's cousins grew up with her like sisters because Anne has 3 brothers and no sisters. And so these 2 cousins, female cousins, they were like sisters. Now, a little bit more context that I will offer finally now, which I don't want to get into too much, but Ian Rafalco was married to Anne's cousin. So if you've seen any argy-bargy between me and Ian Rafalco, it's more family related than Scientology related, in my opinion.
Interesting. Is it your family members or your wife's family members who are running the Scientology org in Perth?
Yeah, so Anne's uncle is the ED Perth, and auntie was the DED, but she's now something else with the whole org shifts. But she's like they're the
Are
Lannister
they
family.
training at Flag, or are they holding down the fort while the trainees?
Yeah, they're training at Flag, and one of the daughters is here running it now. So they've been at Flag a long time, right? And Anne's auntie was instrumental in getting me declared. So, you know, and then Anne's parents are like deeply into it.
Wow.
They know the bullshit that goes on, but it's a case for them, I think, of just, well, there's eternal salvation at hand here, so we'll take anything, you know, that sort of level of in. Yeah, it's common, right?
So you're declared a suppressive person. Your wife isn't.
She must be declared something. She must be PDS type something or whatever.
They don't usually go through the trouble of declaring someone PTS if they're getting ready to declare them SP. Why do you think your wife hasn't been declared an SP yet?
The family connections run pretty deep here. Her uncle's brother is the big whale in Perth.
What's his name? Just like Scientologists might recognize him.
I'm not sure if I want to go that far. I'll leave that one. Sorry. Maybe people who know
you
the
think
Perth
it's actually going to matter?
Look, there's still lines of respect that I don't want to. Now, when I say respect here, I'm just not sure if that's kosher to name drop people like that. I don't know. I there's something inside me that just says, Jason, just hold back on that. But maybe there's people in the comments who know. But for me, you know, and my morality says I can nod if someone else says it, but I can't say it.
All right, in the live chat, if anyone knows, Ian Rafalco, if you're watching,
he doesn't like me.
Who is Jason's wife's uncle? Who's the big rich person? I mean, we know it's not. Who's the big Australian tycoon?
Big Australian tycoon?
The guy. Yeah, the tycoon. Tom Cruise got him into Scientology. Not the Banks family.
Do you mean James Packer?
James Packer. We know it's not Packer because
I don't think he's a sign. I don't think he ever really, or if he was, he wasn't. Like, he was kind of in and out.
He was just a dabbler.
Yeah. Like, I never saw him actually involved. Yeah. I did see one celebrity one time, which I'll share. I was working in the AO.
Jason, don't stuff it up this time. Drinks after this at the pub. Your shout to reimburse me. What is this? Someone you actually know?
Yeah. So,
really?
So Linda. Yeah. Okay. So this is funny. So Linda super chatted in the second interview, and when we were debating about Scientology and tax, the Church Scientology and tax exemption, and she said, Jason, your arguments you don't know enough about this, so why don't you just shut up, or something like that, or, you know. And I was pretty. So in the first interview, I was combative to you and nice to the audience, and then in the second one, I sort of felt the other way around, where I was real nice to you, not real nice, but like a bit more congenial to you, and then to the audience, I had mistakenly read some of those comments afterwards, and I didn't go too well for me. So I really was firing back at the audience the second time. So Linda sent this comment that I just took as like, fuck you. So I just said, go stuff yourself, Linda, or something. And then she emailed me afterwards, and she emailed me from her work email, which had her work details on it, and just a little bit of information. And it was a nice email. She said, I just wanted to clarify this point. It was well worded, and I thought, this person seems all right. Anyway, it turns out she works 20 minutes away. So we were chatting a bit, and I said, do you want to just meet up? I'd love to. She's never been in Scientology before. I said, I'd love to hear your perspective on me and Aaron and the chats and Scientology. So yeah, and then we've met up a couple times now. So she's fun chick. She actually did a Facebook post about it. She met me at the pub and she did a Facebook post, and then she said it got taken down for some reason. So I don't know
where'd she put it up? Do you just mean on her own profile, or like the supporters?
No, on the here. I'll take my phone off Do Not Disturb. Linda, just text me if you want me to say where it came from. I forget because I'm not on Facebook. I think you've got some page. She'll text me.
It's probably the supporters page. The supporters of Leah Remini, maybe.
I'm not sure. Anyway, she'll text me in a second, and then I'll. Yeah. But anyway, apparently it got taken down for some reason, and so. So I've made her a moderator of my channel, just for lols. So she can get to be in charge of some comments. because I probably won't engage with the comments directly myself. I'll do it via other people just for personal reasons. But anyway, so we were talking about James Packer. Oh, and I was working at the AO when I was in the Sea Org, and I was 22 or 3, and I didn't have a wife, which in the Sea Org is not fun for a young male, and I was walking through the garage, and there's this car, this gorgeous car, like it was like something out of a Bond movie. And out of the car steps this drop dead gorgeous woman, she's only second to my wife, of course. Otherwise she's going to walk in here and slap me. Yes. Linda says Leah Remini supporters group. So anyway, it was Jodie Mears, who was the host, I believe, of Australia's Next Top Model.
Jodie Mears. She was in
the AO getting objective auditing from the senior CS.
Shane Brockdorf or someone else?
No, not Shane. I forget her name. Shane was the not CS. One of the senior CSs of the, because AO's got Div 4 and Div 4A. Anyway, so she was getting like VIP auditing on objectives. I just saw her that one time, and then I saw the car.
I'm not gonna lie, dude.
Times.
She looks a little bit like a man. I'm not gonna lie. Are you sure I'm looking at the right person? JODHIMEARES.
Oh dear. Jodie Mears.
Is she transitioning?
Well, I mean, let's look at her this would have been 2007. Jodie Mears, 2007. There you go. She's not a man. Come on, mate. Jodie Mears. Hey, there's even a picture of her.
I didn't know you rolled
James
like
Packer.
that, Jason. I'm not judging you.
And Mariah Carey. Is that Mariah Carey? Aaron, I've done my time doing confessionals, so how I roll now is just my business and my wife's. I can be into whatever I want to be into as long as it's legal, and that's legal. So
hashtag brave, hashtag stunning. I'm not judging.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so back then, so every time I saw the car,
did you ever find anything out? Did you ever find out anything else about Jodie Mears? Like, did she ever, did James Packer get her into Scientology?
No, I mean, I didn't know. I was just the shipping clerk in the AO at that time. All I knew was whenever I saw that car in the garage, I used to make excuses to walk past the garage 20 times, hoping to get a glimpse again. But I never saw her again. It was just that one time.
Everyone being furious at my comments. I'm loving it.
She doesn't look like a man.
Cheers, Jason. Hey, to each their own. I'm not judging you.
Yeah, whatever floats your boat. It is early. Yeah. So what were we talking about before that? So my wife's family is regarding her being declared.
Oh yeah, you didn't want to mention your uncle because that's some sort of an overt for you. But if someone in the live chat mentions your uncle's name,
fuck off.
If that's someone in the live chat mentions your name, you'll verify. Whoever I want guesses in the live chat for who Jason's wife's uncle is.
He's actually Anne's mother's sister is kind of the DED Perth Foundation, and her husband's, so Anne's uncle's brother, but it's Anne's uncle is not actually like it's the uncle-in-law technically, like it's I get confused with family, and then it's his brother, Mel Gibson. Of Bartek, eh? Bob's your uncle, yeah. No. Oh boy. Yes. Anyway, so there's serious connection here in Perth.
I just want to see how fast I'm losing subscribers right now.
Why? Because of the Jodie Mears comments? Or?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, you might lose a lot of Australian subscribers because I'm pretty sure she's a little bit of Russell. She's a little bit of an Australian icon, I believe. So
I'm teasing. I expected a different look, but that's okay.
You're not into the brunettes, or what is it?
Nothing wrong with brunettes.
Anyhow, so
What are we even talking about right now?
we're talking about Anne's family, and
Anne's family.
she would love to come on. She's told me she would love to come on, but she's trying to keep the peace. Because
And I'm here to talk. I'm here to talk some sense into your husband.
she is
There's
listening.
no such thing as keeping the peace. I mean, your husband's got a YouTube channel now, so he's squarely. By the way, do you identify as associating with SPTV or not?
I don't identify as anything. Go away.
Oh,
I
you
hear enough of that talk when I'm
everyone
at uni. I don't identify as anything.
Everyone
Nah,
identifies as something. Jody Mears
I do, as a
identifies as a
human
woman,
being.
apparently. And I identify you as being SPTV adjacent. How about that?
That's fine. That's fine. I'm here. No, she would like to come on, but at the moment, her father doesn't speak to her, but her mother seems like she can get approval to still see her. There's always a delay when she tries to contact her, but she does occasionally, very rarely, and it's probably somehow supervised. There's probably a report written about it every time, but just and with her relationship with her mother and the two grandkids,
Is her mother in the Sea
that.
Org?
No. Her mother's out here as a public. She has been in the Sea Org before. And if the Church of Scientology is watching and they want to declare her, then their reward for that will be Anne telling a very detailed story about things that they wouldn't want her to tell stories about, because she has a much, RPF, she has a much more vigorous story than I. And she can also tell my story from a different perspective that hasn't been told.
I got a question for you, just because I'm interested because of how me and my wife raised our kids. So you have two little ones,
1 and 4, or just about 4. Yep.
Were you guys still Scientologists in good standing when you had at least your first kid?
Yes. Yeah. There was a big. Yep. Go on. You want to say something?
Oh no, someone was guessing, but I thought it was a real guess, but it's a fake guess. Did you guys? Here's the basis for my question. My wife and I never openly discussed whether we were or were not going to expose our kids to Scientology. And without discussing it and without having some, prearranged agreement on it, we never said one freaking word to our kids about Scientology. We never tried to educate them into the ways of Scientology. We never tried to feed them any little Scientology concepts or ideas. Like, it's almost like there was an unspoken understanding between us that was like, we came out okay, but we ain't doing this with our kids. And we were still Scientology. So we had our first kid when we were in 2007. I was not declared until 2014. That's all 3 of our kids were born by the time I was declared. And our kids never even heard the word Scientology until the Scientology in the Aftermath show came out. So I'm wondering, did you guys have any agreements about what you were not going to do with your kids in Scientology?
Yeah. So my sort of last situation where I was involved in the church really was late 2017, and Anne got pregnant in early 2019, and I was declared. I get lost in the years. What's that? November 2022. So yeah, she got pregnant in between, and we discussed it very overtly between us that there is no way they are being involved in Scientology.
Wow.
And whatever happens with us, whether we stay in good standing or whatnot, there was actually a bit of a blue between her father and I over it, because he was like, no, he's got to be raised as a Scientologist. And as one of my friends reminded me, that's what marriage is for. So you can tell your father-in-law to get fucked, So yeah, there's just no way that is happening. Now, as far as them hearing the word Scientology, they're going to hear the word Scientology because I have the YouTube channel and I'm studying at university, and I'm planning on doing studies on this later on, hopefully. And I'm writing a fiction book about a particular thing that I'm not going to say. Yeah, I'll tell you about it after if you like. But
Lord Xenu?
God no.
Oh.
But I am writing a
Jason, don't think that I don't recognize that I'm the one doing all the heavy lifting over here.
Oh, well, it is early here.
It was your idea.
I know it was my idea. I said, well, we shouldn't. It's not the debate now. We've had the debates and we have the after drinks. Got my bloody nose and black eye. No, there's. So you said that. That. What do I want to say about this book? I'm skirting around the book, but basically, this idea that I might be naive about what happened to us in the Church of Scientology and so on.
But I know you're not naive. That's
No.
actually what I want the viewers to understand. You actually have to go out of your way to try and pretend that you, or to try and take a neutral position. I think what confuses people is, why would you want to take a neutral position? And I'm not going to lie, it confuses the hell out of me too. But once I realized, oh, you've got your own horrible story, it just made you more sympathetic. That, you know,
let's just say I've got like multiple personality schizophrenia disorder or something, because I can come at this from multiple points of view and have no point of view. No issue with that. So I'm writing a fiction book, and when it comes out, your audience is going to love it. And then hopefully one day my goal is to do an academic thesis on this, and your audience is probably going to hate it. And then my channel, some will like it, some won't. And then my interviews and my blog, like I come at all this from a different
perspective. If you guys want to see a channel that that Jason thinks you're going to hate, subscribe to Scientology Philosophy on YouTube.
Should we explain how that came about?
What came about?
The channel, because that's the story of like, well, how did I get to doing a channel when?
Well, my advice would be, if you want to explain that, make it 60 seconds long.
Well, I don't do quick explanations. We know that.
Oh, come on, man! I'm trying to help you out here.
It's part of the story. So after the debates, I reflected on all the different things we spoke about: tax exemption with the church, whether Scientology is a religion, whether L. Ron Hubbard's a cool guy or not, whether David Miscavige is a cool guy or not, just everything Scientology that we discussed. And I decided a few things. One was that, you know what, I'm going to read this couple paragraphs from my blog post, and you can just tune out if you want, Aaron, because I know you don't.
I don't want to tune out. I want to be an active, willing participant. I want to give you full consent. Okay, you didn't ask for consent, but I'm giving it to you.
Wow,
you didn't ask, but I'm giving it to you. Okay, you have to ask each step of the way. Okay, and if you're gonna, how many paragraphs are you gonna read?
Yeah, it's just when I write something, I get my thoughts in order betterer than I do speaking live. Now, I'm feeling better in front of a camera and a microphone, and I think my voice is coming across better because I've had some practice now versus the first time we moved together and it was all over the place. I won't read it, but if anyone is interested, there are 3 blog posts on my website. One is called My Continuing Interest in Scientology. The other one's called Scientology Philosophy, Not Theology. And the last one's called A Hubbardless Scientology Philosophy. That one might interest you.
I like the title of that one.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So I'm just going to read the first few sentences and then I'll explain the rest. 2 recent blog posts have whittled down my continuing interest in Scientology. Abandoned components of Scientology now include its bridge, space opera, tech, and policy/admin. None of these hold my interest beyond nostalgia. My formal interest lies solely in Scientology philosophy, by which I mean such things as metaphysics, etc. And then I go on to... So really what I clarified in our first 2 interviews was I wasn't sure what sort of scope I would want to tackle academically or in a fiction setting or personally, or where I stood on a lot of things. And now I feel I know where I do stand. And you can read those blog posts if you want a more detailed blow by blow of how I came about all that and what I think. But then the last component of this was, hang on, if I'm going to be doing analysis on Scientology philosophy, or really right now, it's probably not analysis, it's probably just commentary. And because I hope to get more educated before I try an actual analysis. But the last question was, well, what about Hubbard? Because this question of like, if I'm sticking with the philosophy, not that I'm personally sticking with it, but if I'm trying to go over it to what degree can or am I willing to separate L. Ron Hubbard from the philosophy? And
Does
your
your
look on your
wife
face.
does your wife support what you're doing?
No.
I was just as I was sitting here, I was just reminded when you said my wife would like to say hi to you. I was like, oh, again, I assumed she was someone who'd never spent a day in Scientology, because otherwise, how could she be married to you? And then you said she tends to agree with you more on these things.
Yeah, she does.
And I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah. So,
and then you, I mean,
why am I doing this? So, no, I'm going to tell you something, Aaron. My level of, it's still hard to talk about it. My everything gets a bit, but my level of, so for the audience, I was born into Scientology, and my father was hard into it, like hardcore into it.
And your wife was born in as well, right?
She was born into it as well.
Because that's, I know, and I'm sorry to interrupt. I know most of my viewers, to me, that's important. Like, to me, the fact that you, and okay, I don't want to be so careful with words. The fact that you sound like an apologist, I know infuriates my viewers. Okay. The fact that you're a second generation born in Scientologist makes what you're trying to do intensely interesting to me. And I feel bad that the stuff you say pisses off my viewers so much, because I'm intensely interested in what you have to say, even if I joke about it. Because I mean, I just appreciate what you're trying to do, because I know where you're coming from. I don't agree with, but I find what you're trying to do interesting, because I know you come from a background just as fucked up as mine.
Yeah, you know, in addition to it being my whole worldview, philosophically, theologically, whatever word you want to use, just my mental paradigm, it was also friendship-wise my whole world, and it's hard to, I don't know if it's a virtue to just come out and then just start shitting on everyone and everything that you knew, even if
I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone who's done that, and I officially object for the record.
Sure, that's fine. And because I'm struggling here with this, I may say the wrong words, and this is why I prefer blog posts. Do you know what I mean? Like I just it's hard. It's hard because there is, you know, there's always that character in a famous novel who's on the wrong side of the team, and when the protagonist asks, well, why are you still doing this? And he or she just goes, this is my role to play in life. You know, like that's just what I was born into, and that's what I'm going to do. You know, I was born on this side of the ledger, and I'm going to fulfill my role in like Game of Thrones is a great example of this. You know, people who know they're doing bad things, but their whole family is in it, and it's the honor of their family and whatnot. And there's something to that. It's hard to step out of that and just go, oh, well, my family is wrong. They were wrong. They're silly and misguided, and I'm going to start naming them online, and I'm going to, it's that might be easy for your audience. And we've discussed that there's a very minimum portion of them that were Scientologists or were in Scientology. So maybe the portion that were in Scientology deeply may understand a little bit more, or maybe there's other audience members who are in other things deeply, but I don't know what I'm saying here. It's just hard. It's hard to come out and go, yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, it's hard.
It is hard, which is why, even though, like, if you and I were talking privately, it would feel much different than the fact that we're talking publicly, because privately, there's nothing you would say to me that would make me go, oh shit, people are not going to understand what you're saying. Privately, I wouldn't give a shit about everyone else's reaction to what you're saying.
Sure. And, you know, privately, I do say a lot of stuff. I openly discuss, you know, the confidential information with my wife and I, who have read that stuff. We openly discuss.
Lord Xenu. Okay.
Yeah. You know, so if there are any Scientologists watching, they're probably not now, but if they are, I'm not covering that stuff on my channel.
Yeah.
But it's we go back to it's hard. So and maybe we should just move on because I'm sort of
That's okay.
getting it. I need
There you go. There you go. By the way, if your wife wants to pop in and say hi on camera, she's welcome to.
Well, Anne, she is watching, sweetheart. If you want to come in, you are welcome. But she probably won't. We also do have the 2 kids out there, and she has a no kids on internet rule.
I totally support that.
Yeah,
I totally support that.
So they'll probably come running in with her, and she wouldn't want that. I do have. Luna, come here.
And it's funny because I had one opinion of you.
I do have. Sorry, Aaron. I do have a friend here, though. Here you go, Luna.
Oh,
Luna.
Look at that.
Oh, puppy. She's just woken up. Anyway, there you go. You can go back down now, sweetheart. Okay. Yes.
I mean, I had one opinion of you when my understanding was you were a 2nd-generation Scientologist who was, just on your own journey. And the alcohol doesn't help.
Tell me about it. Why are we doing this?
I mean, when I found out that you were also married to another ex-ESO member.
It's a lot, right? It's a lot. Because Anne and I have spoken about this. If you were to marry someone else in a way, like a non-Scientologist, it's good in a way, right? Because it's like then half of your family is not traumatized and normal. Is that where you sort of, when you've got the shared trauma of it with your partner?
Is that I had one opinion of you when I thought that what you were doing was just sort of an interesting cute little academic exercise for you that was easy. And when I realized that what you're doing, even though it's hard. Like your wife does not agree with what you're doing. If you don't mind, I might be overstating the fact.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
She does.
We're congenial about it. She doesn't hate me about it.
The fact that she's more on the same page with the kind of stuff I do than the stuff that you're doing made me go, you're doing what you're doing, even though
in spite of
the hard path to travel. And I said, okay, this is more interesting to me now.
Yeah. So what I was saying about the darkness of this, the difficulty of it, I have sat, so I have sat in on Psych 101 and 102 at uni and came to my own conclusion that psychology is not all that, in my opinion. I was watching it and just, like do you remember in the church we were taught that the DSM is like made up, like, they just, you remember the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual?
Yeah, just by a show of hands and whatnot.
Yeah,
I mean that's true though, isn't it not true? I just assumed that was true.
It's true. Yeah, when I was sitting in Psych 101, it's actually true.
Right.
And a few other things, and studying some philosophy and other classes, and I just came to my own conclusion, and just watching psychologists and sociologists talk, and that I'm not paying someone to now diagnose me again, and I don't see how Scientology is just irrevocably terrible while psychology is just wonderful. I don't have that point of view. There was probably a lot more we could say about that, but just moving through it, to get to my point, I am not interested in seeing a psychologist about me and what happened to me. And I know you said the same about you and Lex when you were on with Lex Friedman. And this is my therapy right now. We are in a therapy session.
I don't even charge you $3.50 an hour. So cheers, bro.
Exactly. So I didn't drink. So when you see I understand now people's time is more important. Like it's not like everyone's going to watch every interview with me, but from my perspective, my interview with Chris, it's like I'm very subdued. This is the first time I'm on camera. It's I'm nervous, and then with you, there's like a bit of anger and outrage coming out. The first one, then the second one was a bit more together, and now I'm a bit more together. And I'm sure in 6 months' time we can do another one or whatever, and I'll be a bit more together. Like this is the journey right now. This is the journey.
Good.
And when I'm at uni studying, that's the journey. When I'm writing, that's the journey. This is my life's journey. And I know you have at least one Jordan Peterson hater in your crowd. So this is just for that person. I love this.
No one hates Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
What?
This particular idea from Jordan Peterson, I love. And he was talking about so Jordan Peterson was a gateway drug for me to get out of Scientology, because he says some things that are similar to
Really?
Scientology. Yeah, like about personal responsibility, the individual being the locus of, life, and he also says life is it doesn't say life is a game, he says life is a series of games. There are similar things that he says. Not I don't want to mislead people. Jordan Peterson is not in any way connected to Scientology in the slightest. L. Ron Hubbard says things that other people said all the time, and we've had discussions about the fact that he does take his inspiration from elsewhere. If you don't like him, you just say he stole it. If you like him, you say he's inspired, whatever.
Can I interrupt with a funny little Jordan Peterson anecdote?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you after. Yeah, go.
Just earlier today, I saw a video of, I think Piers Morgan was interviewing Jordan and his daughter Michaela at the same time, just like yesterday, the day before.
Yeah, right.
And she said, while sitting next to her dad, that she stayed in her abusive marriage for longer than she would have otherwise because of her dad's views about the importance of the institution of marriage and how much he looks down on divorce. And I was like, this is some powerful shit. Because fucking Pierce asked him right there on camera, do you feel responsible that your daughter endured this? I was like, God damn, this is some powerful shit.
Yeah, and that's a great example of why one philosophy is never going to work for everyone, and it's great to have competing philosophies and different points of view. And yeah, that's interesting. My mind wants to go there, but that will go off topic. Because I find his shorter interviews like that to be fascinating too, right? You just find this little tidbit like, wow, that's really interesting. But what I want to, this story of Peterson, I first heard this in 2018, so I was only freshly frustrated with the church and on my way out. And he speaks about the Knights of the Round Table. Apparently, then they have to go off into the forest, like they have to cross the forest. And they all had to enter the forest where it looked darkest to them. Like that's their quest. This is from Peterson, and I'm probably bastardizing it, of course. That's their quest. Is it's like your hero's journey is to take on that thing which is darkest to you. And for me, you mentioned like what I'm doing in academia is easy, and then you said no, it's hard. And I don't want to try and put words in your mouth, but what I'm doing, trying to just do a balanced analysis of the philosophy of Scientology. Now, that's not its tech. It's not its technical bulletins. It's not its policy. My blog posts clarify this. It's just, when I say philosophy in this sentence, I mean metaphysics, epistemology, axiology, aesthetics, maybe politics, logic, this sort of stuff. I don't mean auditing. I don't mean this other, Church of Scientology stuff. But to do an analysis on that from someone who's lived it and to be balanced about it, because it's something that I don't think is spoken about. And there are a couple commentators who claim to speak about it, and I want to tackle that too, but they're not. That's hard, and it's the darkest part of the forest for me. And I decided that in 2018. That's why I wrote my book in 2019, Scientology and Philosophy, an experiential overview. It was my first attempt at it, and I write in the preface like this is just a offhand, quick summaries. That's why it's called an overview. And I say in there, like maybe one day I'll do this properly, sort of thing. And that's what my intended doctoral thesis is. I have a lot of growing to do before I would get to that. And I've even had people email me about this. Even someone emailed me last week saying they're an anonymous academic, which sort of raised my eyebrows because I don't know what to say to an anonymous person. But it was a nice email, and yeah, I have a lot of growing to do to get there, and that's my journey. And
Can you tell everyone, are you still an undergrad, or are you still an undergrad?
Yes, I'm in my last year, but I've actually deferred to next year now because I've had a lot going on this semester. Trying to tackle 4 units with the 2 kids just didn't work now that we have our second. So I'm going to switch to part-time. So I'll finish next year. And then I want to do a Bachelor of Letters, which will take me 2 more years part-time, a Master's in Philosophy and Theology, and then the doctorate. So it's a long way off. And that's why I thought, you know what? I will start the channel now. And tackle some of the things that I find interesting. And I have a great example for you, which we can do now or later, but I would like to do it quickly, of the sort of things that I'm tackling. And in this channel, I'm just going through the materials from day dot. We got distracted. So this blog post, A Hubbardless Scientology Philosophy, I actually do a video on it on the channel. It's one of the preamble videos. It's only like 5 minutes long or something. And I read the blog post and I say a few other things. But I say in the blog post, 18 months ago, I resigned from the Church of Scientology over its application of Scientology theory as contained in the writings and lectures of L. Ron Hubbard. I cited a passage from 1950 which was alarming but not unavoidably fatal. Reading Hubbard anew has revealed to me not a few isolated instances of such passages, but a consistency. So that's a big thing for me to say. So previously on the channel, I was still somewhat defending him. For me, like the end of the blog post says, I should read this quickly as well. Hubbard perpetually denigrates other people, cultures, systems of thought, anything unaligned to his ideas, or sometimes just analogical fodder. I cannot defend his person, and the arrogant persona assigned to Scientologists cannot be mere caricature. And that was a big thing for me to realize as well. Like, this arrogance assigned to Scientologists, like, you know, when you see them portrayed in movies, they're always portrayed as that arrogant. Did you see Jason Bateman do it to The Rock in that movie? Yeah. That was brilliant, right? And when I saw it at the time, I was like, oh, that's a bit much. But now it's like, no, that actually is that. There's a reason that's there. People do act like that. Are you going to bring it up?
I'm going to bring up the name of the movie. Central Intelligence.
Yeah.
Is the name of the movie, starring Jason Bateman. I think, who's the little...
Dwayne Johnson.
Jason Bateman, The Rock, of course. And the little dude was in it.
Kevin Hart?
Kevin Hart, yeah.
Yeah, he's funny. Yeah. So I say... I'm just going to read these last few sentences because this was real big for me.
So there's a whole scene in the movie, though, where Jason Bateman is pretending to care about someone. He's pretending to care about having mistreated The Rock in high school or whatever. And he's like, are you shitting me? He's like, I'm a Scientologist. He goes, clear as fuck. And it's so funny.
He says, and then he says, he shows the bracelet and says, I've been Satan free since 2003. Yeah. Which I thought was funny as well. Yeah. Although I didn't know about the upper levels at that time. So that joke meant something else, but it was still funny. Even if you don't know what the upper levels are in the confidential stuff, that's still funny to hear that. So let me read this, Aaron, and then we'll put the official writing ways. I find this post difficult to write. I suppose it is a component of Scientology philosophy which is difficult to untangle. Hubbard himself, not to mention the personal loss of friendships, because I saw this post as the final nail in the coffin for me. That's like the only thing I could do now is tell you the philosophy is bullshit. Everything else I've now just swept aside, you know? So that was big for me. I say, indeed, some hold that a philosophy cannot be separated from its speaker. I disagree. A speaker is context, not the philosophy itself. What remains of Scientology for me? Very little, but that very little is, I believe, a core component. This is the philosophy, right? And I say, the fruit may be rotten. Is the pip nourishing? Can I even call my intended study Scientology philosophy, or is it now post-Scientology philosophy? And that's what I wanted to say to you, that my interest in Scientology philosophy has actually become post-Scientology philosophy. And what that means is you've probably heard of postmodernism because...
Yeah, but I've never known what it meant, no matter how many times I look it up.
That's all right. So modernism was something that came around in...
I've even clay demoed it. No,
there's going to be some... No, that's fine. And there's going to be some fancy pants in the audience who goes, I didn't explain this correctly, and that's fine. So please, one of my reverse secretaries, please do just correct me here in the comments. But modernism is something that came around the early 20th century, and postmodernism is a response to modernism. Just the same as structuralism, something called structuralism.
You can't use a misunderstood word in the definition, Jason. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I know.
Now I'm on a word chain. I haven't been in a word chain since I left Scientology.
Well, so structuralism.
I think your wife is probably cracking up right now.
Yeah, she probably is. At me. So structuralism is something that came out of linguistics in roughly the same time.
Now I'm in a longer word chain. God damn it, Jason.
And then some other folks come along and they say, no, we're post-structuralists. And what it means, so we have something now called post-structuralism. We could do it, Juliana. We could do it. We could, Aaron, we'd do a live chat for like 3 hours and we'll have like a shared clay demo.
A live stream clay demo.
Yeah. We could do it. I know we could. I believe in us. What was I saying?
Postmodernism, whatever.
Right, post-structuralism. So what it is it's like the thinker is saying, yes, I come from this school of thought, or I'm at least well versed in it, but I'm critiquing it. But there are parts of me, like it's like your lineage. Like I come from this philosophy. So I come from Scientology philosophy. There's no way around that. I was in it for 31 years.
Okay.
And then what I'm beginning to do in my personal work is to think about it in a critical way that is answering back and saying, oh yeah, I like point A, but can we strip out point B? Because point B is not, I don't like that. That's now post-Scientology philosophy. Now, in order to do post-Scientology philosophy, someone better explain what Scientology philosophy is. So my channel isn't post-Scientology philosophy, it's Scientology philosophy. And what I'm doing is detailing the Scientology philosophy. Now, I want to speak about Chris Shelton quickly and John Atack, just in relation to
Before you mention Chris and John, because then I have to down this entire glass. Okay. Someone just mentioned that Jody Mears is James Packer's ex. So, I don't know. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
What? What are you saying?
It means James Packer is into dudes.
Yeah.
I'll drink to that. Oh my god. YouTube is the best.
He could probably send the AFP, the Australian Federal Police, after me. He's so rich.
Oh my god.
What were you even talking about, Aaron?
Some bullshit. I don't know.
Some bullshit. Chris and John. Okay.
Oh,
so
Jesus Christ. Okay.
When I say Scientology philosophy, some people I've had emails saying you mentioned Chris, but you didn't mention John. Some people think that they're doing the work I'm doing. They're not, folks. They are not. What they're doing is trying to work out where Scientology came from. They're trying to draw the strings to, oh, he got this from Freud, and he got this from Heidegger, and he got this from Schopenhauer. And of course, both of them have a massive hard-on for the occult. Now, when I was a freshman, I read Ayn Rand's two works, The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged.
I tried. I couldn't make it through. It was too boring. It was too boring.
I feel the same way I do about Ayn Rand as I do L. Ron Hubbard, as I do Jordan Peterson, which is I find some of the things they say quite brilliant, and then some other things they say to be disgusting and egregious.
Can you clarify something for me real quick?
Yeah.
I don't understand I don't understand where Chris and John come into this conversation. Did they have some ongoing concerted effort to do something I'm not aware of?
Yeah. So I'll get there. So I would get my Atlas Shrugged book over there, but I'm connected. So it's this fat, and then the other side, the pages side is like this fat, and the reason is because I dog-eared. Righto, Jim. I dog-eared so many passages and underlined so many passages when I was a freshman because I was convinced at that time that L. Ron Hubbard had taken a lot of Scientology from Ayn Rand. Oh. Because she wrote The Fountainhead in, I think, 43, and then Atlas Shrugged in 57. And it's interesting that Atlas Shrugged deals a bit more with ethics, and then in 60, Hubbard returns to ethics with The State of Man. So I was even like going, wow, there's even the timelines match up and everything. Now, Chris Shelton and John Atack. All right, so the more I studied at uni, see, the great thing about uni, and we've spoken about uni before, is that you get to study things that you wouldn't normally study. You have to study things that you wouldn't naturally read. You'd be like, oh, I'm not going to read that. That's boring. But the great thing about that is it gives you different perspectives, and you come across ideas that you wouldn't naturally, it's like someone forcing you to watch YouTube videos that you wouldn't normally watch, right? It can break that cycle of cognitive bias, dissonance, whatever you want to call it, just bias. So to some degree, of course, we can never break bias fully. John and Chris have that hard on for the occult and the occult roots of Scientology. And in my opinion, they both act like freshmen. They are not discussing Scientology. What they're doing is cherry picking ideas from Scientology to match what they want to match up to the occult, which is what I was going to do with Scientology and Ayn Rand.
I
So
see.
if you watch my channel, you'll see I'm just reading from, I'm doing the first book is Dynamics, the original thesis. I'm just reading from the text and going, hey, here's an idea. It's called, in sociology, they call it, and I've only taken Sociology 101. It's the reason why I want to do a second degree to major in anthropology, rather, because I now understand that my intended interest in Scientology is anthropological as much as it is philosophical. What I learned in Sociology and Anthropology 101, it was a joint unit at that time, is there's these two fancy words, and we're going to have to drink to these words. One is emic and one is etic, or etic and emic, or something like that. Yeah, I know, right? Here we go.
What do those words mean?
These words are in the dictionary, so you can look them up. EMI, too many alcohol. EMI, emic and etic. I can't spell right now. They're 4-letter words. One means, the emic one means from the internal perspective, and the etic one means from the external perspective. So, for example, the sociologists and anthropologists use it. They go off to the Ooga Booga Society, and they want to study the Ooga Booga Society. If you do it from...
That sounded a little racist.
Everyone's racist. What?
I'm just saying.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
No, I'm not serious.
I've got like 3 of these in me. It's 8:27 in the morning, and you're going to call me a racist?
The Ooga Booga Society? Anyway, I'm just saying. That sounds like something L. Ron Hubbard would say, Jason. Come on now.
Well, I did grow up in Scientology, and us Australians are a little bit off kilter. And I'm not even going to apologize. If you were offended by that, go away.
I'm totally kidding.
All right. Well, you got me all flustered. I'm putting this away for a bit. Go over here.
By the way, I just want you to know, this is the last of the bottle of wine I started with. So I think I'm ahead of you, probably.
Yeah, but it's 8:30 at night over there. It's so different than, this is breakfast for me. I didn't even eat anything. I'm on an empty tummy, so I'm really pinging.
All right, that's true.
Okay. The Elysian Society over here, that they want to go study. When they go study the Elysians, they can do it from the external perspective, where you try and rationalize or analyze. This is a sociologist in the audience going to go, that's wrong, Jason. But they try and describe what that society is from our perspective. Or you can go into the society and try and describe it from their perspective, the emic perspective, the internal perspective. What I'm trying to do on my channel is describe what Scientology is, the emic, the internal perspective. Chris and John are trying to do it from the etic, the external perspective. They're trying to say, it came from this, and this is how it fits in society. And historically, this is what was happening around that time, and this is what Aaron Hubbard was doing, and blah, 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 blah. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just starting from the internal.
Do you know, can I just want to provide a commentary that I think most of the internet would provide at this time. Nobody gives a fuck what L. Ron Hubbard was trying to do in this book or that book, and this year or that year. I mean, in order to dedicate hours of YouTube content to this, which I didn't know that's what Chris and John were doing. I'm taking your word for it. Like, you have to be appealing to the 15 people on the internet who want to see that shit. I cannot imagine somebody giving a damn about digging that deeply into the nooks and the crannies of the intentions and the motivations of this. And like, who gives a shit?
Have you not met any scholars, academics, professors before? This is what they do.
Man, I mean,
if I'm on leave this semester, so I've lost access to my uni database. But when you type in like, hang on, we have Google Scholar. Can you bring up Google Scholar?
Me?
And yeah, because you can share screen, right?
I'm not a scholar. Will they let me in?
Yes, Google will let you in. Bring up Google
Okay.
Scholar.
All right, Google Scholar. I'm gonna have to abandon your YouTube page just for this. Google
Yeah.
Scholar. I'm there.
All right, and type in J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter.
Oh Jesus. Okay. JK. I know where this is going. No, I'm just kidding.
Share it on the screen.
All right. I'm a little nervous. I don't know where we're going here.
We're on just Google Scholar.
Hold on. I gotta zoom in, which is a little hard for me.
Here we
right
go.
now.
Just yeah, it's hard to see. Look at that. Look at that entry down a bit. There's like the fifth one down. That one. Harry Potter Pedagogy. What we learn about teaching and learning from J.K. Rowling. I mean, here we go. A Journal of Education. So here's an academic who would have trawled through the books and has now written a paper on something that I'm sure, Aaron, you would go, who the hell cares? But someone cares and people care.
Oh, was that the entire point of this? That someone wrote an article about something nobody gives a shit about?
According to you. According to you. But this is academia. I mean, we know we're dealing with the scholars will dive deeply into something. Now, Scientology is a part of our society. Like it or not, folks, it's here. And it's not going to go away either.
Do you want me to keep sharing this page?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
People can do their own search. You could type in postmodernism, you could type in structuralism, you can type in anything into Google Scholar and just type in random things. I tell you what, folks, instead of Googling something one day, or Google it and then go into Google Scholar, you can just type in Google Scholar and bring up the page, and then Google the same thing in Google Scholar and just see what academics say about this stuff. It's interesting. Scientology isn't going to go away. It's going to keep going down at its current trajectory, of course. Like we know that, but it's not going to go away. Even if it goes to a point where there's like 100 Scientologists gathered somewhere, like it's not going to go away. There will be more generations.
I think I would agree with that. You can't really get rid of it.
No, there's like resurgence of like Celtic, pagan worship now in some places.
I mean, there's people who identify as Jedi, so.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to make my point. I'm going to talk about Jedi because
are you one of them?
No, but I have an interesting thing to say about it in relation to Scientology. So we, as a society, should understand what Scientology is at the deeper level. We actually should. And you saying no one cares, you're wrong. You're wrong, Aaron. Let's go into debate mode. You're wrong. That's the only point. That's the only point that I would say to you. Everything else, I feel like I'm conceding, but this one point, I disagree. Now, you are right. It's certainly a minority. I don't expect how many subscribers you got now? 220,000 or something, like whatever it is.
213.
Wonderful. I'm not going to have 213,000 subscribers. I may have 213 subscribers, and that would be great. If the channel grows to like 1,000 subscribers, I would be a pig.
I'll get you 1,000 tonight, Jason. Come on now.
Wow.
We got. I mean, I think what you're doing is interesting, whether anybody gives a shit or not.
Right.
Honestly.
Okay. You just like saying from your
slice of sun.
What was that noise? Did you hear that noise?
That was
Evening, folks. The kids are asleep. It's time for a slice of
What the hell is that?
philosophy.
That's you.
This is the
You're on my channel.
video.
Oh, that's your channel. Let me pause that shit.
on
Jesus.
Basics of Scientology.
Okay.
Two of my voice is not. I don't like that. That made me very uncomfortable.
Okay, so I thought for sure you'd have more than 157 subs by now. Guys, we got 1,200 people, 1,100 people watching right now.
The kids are
God
asleep.
damn it.
It's time for a slice of Scientology.
How do you turn that off? Just get rid of the page. Go to the videos page or something.
Guys, if you're watching this stream right now, go and subscribe to Jason Horvatic.
Oh, look, I've got 20 new subscribers. I was at 127 when we started, so that's great. And folks, it's for people who do want to understand it deeply. Oh, now what I'm going to do, Aaron, could you go to the videos page? Sorry, could you share one more time?
Sure.
If you go to the videos page, can you scroll out a bit? I don't know if.
Yeah.
Anyway,
hold on.
Yeah, cool. So I did 6 preamble videos. You can see my mugshot there. And then I started with that. See that blue thumbnail one? Yeah, that's better. See that page 1 of Scientology? So the 6 preamble videos are just me explaining the channel and what I'm doing. Then me actually starting to read the text is the thumbnailed ones where there's a bit of text to say. They're going to be very short. You can see the length of them they're very short. But if you want to follow it, if you want to follow Scientology philosophy, not as in depth as I'm going, when I run into something of great importance or when I do a summary video, I'm going to do it in blue. So if you saw that blue thumbnail,
Nobody on the internet has that kind of attention span.
Aaron, 157 people may have that attention span. Okay.
Is that because that's how many subscribers you have?
Yeah. So
now it's 158. You're welcome.
Wonderful. There you go. That one person has this attention span. So whoever just subscribed, if you see the blue one there, just watch that one. If you want to really get into it or you're interested in the topic, watch the white ones as well. But every now and then a blue one will come out.
That sounded racist. I'm just going to be honest. That was completely uncalled for. Okay.
I hate those blue people.
You're going to have to do an apology video tomorrow.
Am I going to have to apologize to the Blue Man Group? Is that what we're doing here? Or
oh my God. We're having fun.
Yeah. Did we... Oh, I got to say something else about Chris, a nice thing, because I did poo-poo him a bit in the other videos. I just want to say about Chris that I have a disagreement with him over his what he claims to be academic rigor. I disagree. And his level of academic education, I disagree. But
you can say whatever you want. I just want you to know nobody knows what the hell you're talking about.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Okay, so some
viewers watch Chris Shelton.
Okay. If your audience do watch Chris Shelton, I just want to say that he helped me during a very difficult time personally offline. So even though I have spoken out against him academically, and Chris, if you're watching, like, really thank you. He did speak to me post my declare in a way that was very helpful to me offline. So I just felt like I needed to say that because I felt bad that I had potentially shat on him in something that is very important to him, because it looks like we're going to end up being not colleagues, but enemies, if you will. There you go, Juliana. So
there's no enemies on YouTube. There's no
enemies, but we're going to be. I'm trying not to use the word academic because people don't like saying it because I'm not an academic yet. But if I do become an academic one day, and if Chris goes further in academia, it looks like we'll be scholars who oppose each other in our views, not. Yeah, so I just wanted to be clear to everyone that whatever I say about Chris is definitely not personal.
But couldn't you guys have some sort of a recurring YouTube drama theme of like academia wars?
I have asked him this, and he just doesn't want to. He said to me that's my chief disagreement with him, is he just won't seem to take criticism. He said to me, "Don't you get that that Scientology is designed to create Hubbardian slaves, period." Like, that was it. That's all Scientology is to him. And I'm like, dude, like, there's a bit more to it than that. So Chris, if you're watching, I'll go on your channel anytime. I'd love to debate points with him. I'd love to discuss points with him.
See, it's things like that that make me feel that Chris doesn't understand how YouTube works. So like, I recently in an interview said something that Mitch Brisker didn't like. And Mitch Brisker texted me and he said, "I didn't like that you said that." And I said, "That's great. And don't be upset about it. Let's do a video talking about why you were upset about it." That's what people like. Real people having real conversations about real life shit.
That's exactly what I want to do too. And that's why, because now that I've established that my interest is the text, you see, I've even taken the cover off the book, right? Like, I'm not interested in L. Ron Hubbard. I'm not interested in the Church of Scientology. Like, I'm happy to talk about it with you, but my professional, if you will, interest is just that. And you have made it clear many times that yours is exactly not that. But we still chat because it's fun, right? You don't just go, "Oh, well, Jason's doing that," and I don't go, "Oh, Aaron's doing the Church of Scientology side of things, and therefore we're not going to talk." We have the conversation because it's actually fun to compare the notes. And
now, to be clear, if I don't want to do videos with someone, it's because I don't like them. It's not because I don't like what they have to say.
Right. Well, I'm not sure where. See, Chris is interesting because when Ian did something online that potentially exposed his ex-wife, my aunt's cousin, to people coming into her work and harassing her. And I called him out on that, and then he just went off the deep end with me after that. And Ian, if you're watching, you can disagree with me. I know you have your own channel, that's fine. And then Ian tweeted some things about me, and Chris jumped on too, saying, yeah, watching Jason speak with Aaron, this was our first debate. He was, I forget what it was because I'm off Twitter now. I'm off all social media except for YouTube. It was, Jason's a narcissistic prig or something, or whatever it was. It was very personal. And I thought, geez, Chris, I'm not, and same with Ian, I'm not making these personal comments about you online. I'm making comments about your work, but it's very different to making personal comments. I never make fun of your hair in public, Aaron. Never. It's not something I do.
I saw your fucking Reddit posts about my hair, and I just never told you, okay?
Okay, well, I'm busted then. Yeah. Oh, we should... So, hey, your Lex interview, do you want to speak about that as well?
Yes, I do.
But do you remember the first time
Has it broken 2.6 million views yet? Let me check.
I don't know.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I'm kidding.
No. The first time I came on, one of the things I took exception to was the way you described Scientology in the first 20 minutes to Lex Friedman in your interview. Do you remember that?
You didn't like it?
I didn't. No. I didn't like it back then. I'm gonna tell you. You don't remember we had a conversation about this? It was in one of our debates, and you said to me, "What the hell do you mean, Jason?" And you even said you'd have me back just so we could watch the video together live, and I could tell you what I didn't like about it.
I said that? I have no memory of that.
Well,
because that sounds like an amazing video we could do together.
Well, the problem is I watched it again like a week ago or so, going, "Oh, I will." Sorry. So I watched it again, and I went, "Oh, we've also spoken about the Overton window shifting. I guess I've shifted because I didn't have a problem with what you said either, except."
Oh, you like it better now, not worse.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Okay, I thought we were. Gonna
you can sleep easy tonight, mate. Oh, no. But I do want to say something. You also make a claim that you are never inaccurate about Scientology. You still make that claim now? I would assume so.
I make the claim I'm never intentionally inaccurate. I never exaggerate for the sake of exaggeration.
Yeah, and I agree with you. But the problem,
if you think I said something that's inaccurate, I would love to discuss that.
No, it's not that. It's something else. Because I was mulling over this myself. For some reason, it was sticking in my universe, if you will. Because there was something about it that I'm like, what is it? Like, if Aaron's doing this, what am I doing? And I realized that it's a question of resolution. And when I say resolution, I mean binocular telescope resolution or pixel resolution. You ever done any stargazing at all, like with binoculars or a telescope? Okay. So if you look up at the stars with like a simple homemade telescope, just your average one, generally the way it works is if you want to zoom in more, you see less of the night sky. So with your own eyes, you can see basically all the night sky in one view, or however far we can see, whatever that is. And then if you get binoculars, you're seeing like this. But if you want to zoom in, you're now seeing like a tiny little portion of what you want to see, but you can see much deeper into space. Now, why I'm using this metaphor, if you will, is you're trying to describe all of Scientology, the Church of Scientology. You'll cover its personalities, everything, and you're not inaccurate in that first 20 minutes. But from my point of view, the resolution isn't deep enough. So when Lex says something, I'm like, oh, that's 20 minutes of diving in there. But because you want the overall narrative, you skip over the deeper stuff otherwise you'd have a five-year conversation with Lex, as my videos are probably going to prove. I'm going to have a 5-year conversation with the basics now, because it's going to take maybe not 5 years, but it's going to take a while, right? So
now
your
you've
resolution
crossed the line, and you know it.
Which one?
Put your manners back in.
Which one? Are you being Tom Cruise to the Scientology, the Australian? You know, he did that to the Australian reporter.
Yeah, I'm just.
There's a famous interview down here. Yeah.
I'm being Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah.
But what do you object to, or you don't object? You just
I didn't object to anything you said. Well, except that I just don't know what you're referring to. Like truly, I would genuinely have fun, enjoy talking about anything you heard me say about Scientology that you took issue with.
No, I didn't take issue with anything. I'm just saying that, the only thing that stands out is Lex didn't seem to understand what thetans were.
Yeah,
and it's
seem to get that, to be honest. I agree.
Right. So that in itself is probably a 3-hour podcast with Lex. That's the podcast I would do, or the video I would do. Or could hope to. And if someone else wants to overtake me and do it instead of me, please, by all means, go for it. If someone else wants to take my Dark Forest journey off me and I can go do something else, I'm happy to play guitar instead. No worries. No issues. If someone else, there was something else I was having trouble in the first few interviews. I was being cagey about my actual intentions because I was worried that someone else might.
So hold on, I just want to get this on the record though. Does that mean you've rewatched my entire interview with Lex and you agree that 100% of everything I said was accurate?
There was 1 or 2 things maybe, but yeah, pretty much, Aaron. Yeah, I'll give you that. Like I didn't have nothing stood out.
You don't want to talk about anything that you thought I said that was.
I don't. Do you have something in mind? I don't actually. Like it was.
Of course, I don't have anything in mind. I never say anything that's inaccurate.
Oh, I see. No. You want to get into a debate?
No. It's not that I want to get into a debate. I would genuinely be fascinated to know if I've said something that you actually took issue with.
It was the resolution, just the depth of analysis on the first 20 minutes when you're talking about the theta thetan stuff. I'm like, well, hang on, Aaron. There's a whole detail there that is in my entire interest. It's fine. It's you're talking about the whole symphony, and I'm like, no, I want to talk about the oboe for 5 hours. Look at the way the strings are taught. Like, oh, look at this. Like that. That's just I'm nerding out on Scientology philosophy. I do have one thing to say though, and we spoke about this before. Lex said to you, you've got to take this stuff seriously. If you
that was cringy. That was cringy, right? A guy who's never been in Scientology telling the guy who was born and raised in it to take it seriously.
Yeah, but I agree with Lex.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Have we got some meat now? So, what I will say is, do you know who ContraPoints is?
ContraPoints?
Yeah, she's a person who does like social, political, philosophy sort of stuff. I think she's got 1 million subs on YouTube.
Oh,
she's very like left wing. Hey, sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
La-di-da.
La-di-da. Okay. Anyhow, popular.
Wait,
right?
no, but what is the name of it? Because I'll look it up real quick.
ContraPoints.
ContraPoints. Okay. Go ahead. I'm listening.
So she did a video on J.K. Rowling's transgender statements.
Okay.
And J.K. Rowling,
she's got 1.73 million subs.
There you go. Yeah, pretty big.
Are you a friend of hers?
No, I don't know her, and I don't particularly align with her political views, so I don't tend to watch her. But sometimes people at uni will tell me to watch one, and I'll watch one because she can be funny, so it's entertaining enough. So she did a video on J.K. Rowling because I had said to someone at uni, someone said like, "Oh, J.K. Rowling, she's terrible about transgender people," and this was in like poetry or something. When it always comes up, poetry. Why are we talking about transgender issues in fucking poetry? But anyway, and I said to the person, I said, well, I've searched through J.K. Rowling's tweets and online, and I can't find a smoking gun. Like, where is this coming from? Why is J.K. getting so much hate? And this person said to me, watch this video from ContraPoints. And I watched this video from ContraPoints on J.K. Rowling. And what she pointed out is sometimes there is no smoking gun, but it's just in all the subtleties of what the person says that you can tell that they actually don't like J.K. Rowling doesn't actually like transgender people or whatever. Now, I don't want to get into this issue. I'm just using it as analogical fodder. I don't want to.
Yeah, careful now. You're going to get me demonetized.
I know.
Come on,
I know. And I don't want to get into it. But what I want to say is you are like that with Scientology.
What?
You are the J.K. Rowling of Scientology, and Scientology is the transgender thing.
What?
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Yeah. So when you
hit me with a fucking left out of nowhere like that?
Come on.
What?
I'll have a drink and I'll settle down.
Oh my God. Your wife better come in here right quick. God. So we're about to have words.
Okay. So when you speak about Scientology as separate from the Church of Scientology, go for it. But when you speak about Scientology philosophy or theory, as Lex pointed out to you, you are, oh my bells, you are almost incapable at this point, it seems like, or just unwilling to give it a fair shot. And you just want to shit on it. and you don't say anything outrageous about it, so you can just sort of pull back and go, oh no, I haven't I'm willing to give it a fair shot. But it's so, to me, I think it's what I still hold on to from my first point of view on when I saw you the first time. Like, there's something about the way Aaron's describing it to Lex that is, I know you don't come out and just say, oh yeah, it's all fucking bullshit, or maybe you do.
It is fucking bullshit.
Right. Okay, so I don't have that point of view. I think that
I could ask my daughter, my 12-year-old daughter, to write 100,000 words on philosophy and spirituality or whatever the fuck, and I could probably pull some shit out of there that would help someone somewhere, and that would not justify the existence of whatever she chose to call her body of work. Oh, good.
Okay, so now so I've got a point on this, on Jediism. So I was speaking to a professor at uni. Turns out there's a professor at my uni who's written on Scientology philosophy. Not on Scientology philosophy, on Scientology. She's a religious legal scholar. So
someone agreed with you. I just wanted you to know that.
Someone agreed with me, and then someone agreed with her. But yeah. So I spoke to this professor. I said, hey, I grew up in Scientology. Is there any chance we can meet up? And she's like, yeah, okay, we'll meet up. And then we met up, and she said she was relieved that I didn't just want to have an axe to grind about Scientology, because she said she was worried that when I reached out to her, that's what I want to speak about. But
God forbid a former Scientologist had an axe to grind about Scientology.
No, that's fine. And then she says that's fine, but it's not that's not her professional, like, she's a professor at university. That's not her job, right? Like, I'm meeting her in her job
based on the
hours.
grant that she got from the IAS. I'm sure it's not her job.
Actually, she says, because when I read her paper, it was so neutral, I had to meet her. I'm like, this is the sort of stuff I want to write. And she says, yes, she has colleagues and other people go to her saying, are you some sort of Scientology sympathizer because you don't hate on it? And then other people coming to her saying, why haven't you, like, said the good points of this? Like, the same sort of shit I get of, like, she's just going down the middle. She's actually doing what I think is scholarly work. She was just describing tax exemption and an argument that that the Church of Scientology has helped other minority religions gain tax exemption. Now, I'm with you on the tax exemption now, because we've debated this already. So we won't go back
give
there
me
now.
Strength.
Is this
Xenu, give me
Serenity
strength
now? Serenity now? So anyway, I asked her, I said, is it true that Scientology is the only non-affiliated major religion to come out of the 20th century? Or, like, the biggest one, at least. And what I mean by that is, it's not an offshoot of Christianity. It's not a Hindu offshoot. It's not a Buddhist offshoot. It's its own thing. And she said, yes, with the possible exception of Jediism. And she said, I knew you would find this funny, but we were having a serious intellectual discussion, Aaron. And so I'll have to have a drink. She said that there are people now seriously considering whether what's his guy? George Lucas was divinely inspired to write the original trilogy, not the new ones, but the original trilogy with the Force and everything. And the only difference between it and Scientology, or one of the differences, is that came out of the 70s, whereas Scientology came out of the 50s. So we're a generation behind.
Well, whereas 2 minutes ago I was objecting to this analogy, now I absolutely fucking love it, because Scientology, what she's really saying is that Scientology is no more valid than people who believe that George Lucas was divinely inspired to write episodes 4, 5, and 6.
You're making a great example of what I was saying about just going in for the denigration, but I think it's hilarious.
Son of a bitch! I cannot win with you. I just cannot win with you.
Let's have a drink. I think it's funny what you're saying.
I think my viewers would agree with the statement that I just made, that you
Probably, but
no, because the comparison that
no.
professor was making was lost on you, which is that Scientology is no more valid than George Lucas being divinely fucking inspired to write about Luke Skywalker.
She, as a neutral position, she didn't have a viewpoint on that either way.
I take that neutral position as well.
Okay. What I do want to say is that there are people around who would say that the Quran and the Bible and the Old Testament
to the live chat, we're
text,
saying Jediism, not Judaism. For the love of
Jediism, Jediism, yes, Jedi. You know, boom, boom, Star Wars. Use the Force, Luke. So there is an argument, of course, and this is not, and I'm not making a rigorous academic argument here, but just saying in my personal experience, I have met people who say that's how all religions started, right? Like someone made up a book, and in their time it was denigrated, and people thought, "What? How could you make a religion? This is just Joe blogs over the hill making this book up," you know. But then hundreds of years later, it develops into the religion that it does. So we may laugh at Jediism or Scientology now, but who knows? Maybe if we have a time machine and come back 500 years from now, you know, we're all Sith Lords or whatever. I don't know. Like, it's,
if you bring a Scientologist on your channel and get them to agree, or I should say to appreciate the comparison that professor made, I'll do a 2-hour dedicated live stream dedicated to promoting your channel.
That professor did not make that analogy. That was not her position, but I can see how it's yours, and I can actually see it's a good point. I like it. In fact, I was speaking to someone about it who is still a little bit closer to Scientology than me, and they said, when I mentioned Jediism, they sort of chuckled a bit, and I said, well, that's how they would look at what I'm doing with Scientology. They would chuckle and go, what do you mean you're going to delve into the texts and look at this? This is all rubbish. I'm like, no, I'm serious. I'm taking this seriously. Like, what does it look like? Good. Nice, Ezra. So are you finished, Aaron?
I still have about
just
an
a little
left.
Bit. Okay. I don't know how much. There you go. None left.
For the rest of the night, it's just got to be water for me, or I'm going to have a headache tomorrow. That's for sure.
That's fine. I'm about to go out and have a big breakfast, sausages, bacon, and lots of animals are about to die. Yeah. Anyway, so there is interesting. And also I will say this about Chris as well, as he doesn't seem to be able to take it seriously either. So his analysis is just not on point because he just doesn't want to take it seriously.
I think Chris would do better if he was just open to more conversation instead of being so fiercely protective of what he already believes. Like,
right, because this and that, not the cult mindset that he talks about so much.
I mean, the fact that my viewers were so offended by everything you had to say in my first chat only motivated me to talk to you more. And not just to see them abuse you, but because I genuinely, talking to people about things you fundamentally disagree with, to me, is the perfect educational opportunity. Whether with that education is to find out that you truly believe everything you still believe even more than you thought you did, or whether your mind has changed. I truly enjoy listening to good faith arguments about things I disagree with. It truly brings me joy.
And yeah, I really agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And the key there is good faith.
Yes, good faith, exactly. And I would say that any former Scientologists who are listening, I believe most of us were raised in a conservative background. I think Scientology does have conservative stripes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And university has been a wonderful, wonderful way to explore the other side of politics, because university is mostly all left wing.
That's true. That's true.
And it's been wonderful for me. If you, my personal opinion, if you weren't raised in Scientology and you're a liberal and you have liberal kids, don't send them to university. You're just going to turn them into extremists. Send them into a bloody building site where they're going to get sworn out or something. Like that.
I wanted to show you that I have a viewer who loves your channel.
Oh, thank you, ABV. That's very nice of you.
But that was the only one though.
Yeah. I'm getting better in front of a camera, and I started the channel after reflection because I recognized that public speaking isn't my strong suit, and I thought, well, why not start practicing? But also it was something that you said, Aaron. You said just turn the camera on and just speak. don't worry about it. Don't take it so seriously. And I thought, yeah, I'll do that. And I had someone email me saying, oh, that might not be a good idea if you want to do your thesis, because it might work against me later on. And I kind of thought, well, yeah, but what am I going to do? Like, what am I trying to keep my nose clean to keep my stats up and my ethics in before I can do a thesis? You know, it's
let me jump in real quick, and let me just make a plug for authenticity. The YouTube and the internet does not have preconceived ideas of what is okay to say. My perception is that people want authenticity. And if what you believe today is different than what you believe in 3 months, who gives a shit, as long as you're honest about it every step of the way. And that's why I actually really, even though, you know, you and I in our first chat, we couldn't have been more diametrically opposed to each other. But I love the fact that you were being honest about it. And I think it would even be more interesting if, you know, 2 years from now, your outlook is completely different, but people can see your path. And even if it's not different, who gives a shit? That's not what I'm saying. That's not
actually the goal here. It's again, it's therapy. My channel is, I hope it's interesting to people, but I'm actually also doing it for personal reasons. And it's going to be a great, I
love it.
To cut you off, but it's going to be it's going to be a great repository of quotes for me. If I do go on to do a thesis, I'll have all these videos here. I can go, oh, I know where that quote is. I can just watch the video and then go back to the book and find it, right? It's going to be
now
great.
from an entertainment perspective, I have to tell you, you have to bring your wife on with you, so that because what would be amazing would be to see your path over the next 2 years and hers.
I was thinking, like, if she wants to, she can come on alone with you, of course, to tell a story. But it'd be great to have both of us on at the same time.
Yes,
and you can just ask a question. And
the more the better. I want to laugh at you with her sitting next to you. I mean,
she will too. Linda's met her.
But that's why when I saw, you know, your Twitter beef with Chris and your Twitter beef with, you know, whatever, I was like, you know what, guys, this is what, and maybe it's because of all the content I watch on YouTube. You know, I watched a lot of the comedy space. I also watch a lot of, God, I don't even want to mention the other space. Like, even the comedy space. Let's take Bobby Lee. Bobby Lee is a comedian who has put the most embarrassing and humiliating stuff about himself and his life onto YouTube. And you know what people love? They love connecting with a real human being. And I think that's true, not just for the comedy space, but for all spaces. I think people want connection. People want authenticity. People want like being honest about things about you that might even be something that people think down, you know, look down on, is like, yeah, but he's being genuine with us. And so honestly, the more my live chat audience seemed to hate on you, the more I wanted to talk more with you, because we have a shared background. And the fact that we're approaching things, at least in our content right now, the fact that we're approaching things from a different perspective, oh my God, to me, you couldn't be more interesting than that. Oh my God, what is driving, what is behind the fact that these two people have a very similar background? People have no idea how similar our backgrounds are. And people, based on what the stuff that you say compared to what I say, people would assume that we have almost nothing in common. We have almost everything in common.
Yeah, totally. It's well, I guess it just goes to show that we're all different people with different psychologies, and there's no one philosophy that's going to help us all.
Especially Scientology. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't say it out loud, Aaron, but I can nod. Now, I want to give I'm just going to very quickly, if you don't mind, because I'm just very quickly. I won't bore you too much, but just a taste for the sort of things I'm doing on the channel. I'm up to chapter 2 in the original thesis, and I read this sentence: the measurement and increase. Yeah.
Are you reading Scientology books in your videos?
Yeah.
Just whole chapters?
No, you can't do that. That'd be copyright, surely. But
No, it wouldn't.
No, okay. Well, you can, because you can do it for commentary and criticism. No, I'm reading usually paragraphs. Like, so what I'm doing is I started at day dot, page 1 of Scientology. That's that first blue video, and I'm just in my spare time, they're all at night, so there's a bit of an ASMR vibe to the channel because it's the only time I have to put aside. So when the kids are asleep, I always start it with, alrighty, the kids are asleep, time for a slice of Scientology philosophy. I'm trying to make that my thing. And I'm just reading through and trying to find something that's philosophical, and then I'll just read it out on the channel and do a little bit of like, this sort of comes to mind. What do you guys think, sort of thing. And this is going to be the next blue video because I read this a couple nights ago and I skipped over it and I thought, oh, well, this is not even important, whatever. And then I thought, holy shit, this is actually the first potential mention of Scientology in 1948. And it might give some insight into why the name changed to Scientology, because we know that he lost the rights to it in 1951 to Don Purcell, right? We're all familiar with this thingo. Are you like still there, Aaron? Because you've just got this massive.
My power flickered for a second, but I think we're back.
Okay. Yeah, you're back now. You had this like really like looking, like thinking. So I felt like I should just keep talking, like you were listening intently. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've made my point. And could you come get Luna out of the room, please? We'll see if she's.
Is your wife about to come into the room? She better say hi.
She
better say hi.
You won't see her because
just a hand. We want to know she's a real person.
It's all right, sweet. Luna's laid back down. Luna's getting a bit agitated. Sorry, Aaron. Maybe later.
Son of a bitch.
So this is something that and again, I know a lot of your audience don't care about this sort of thing, but yes, I am reading materials and I'm taking them very seriously. And I read this sentence here. So this is from Dynamics, the original thesis. It says the measurement and increase of the dynamic is the practice and study of. Oh, hey, sweet.
Get a hand in there. At least a hand. I know you can hear me.
Oh, you got a tattoo. Okay. That's it. You declared. Okay.
Oh, God. This is so fun. Oh, my God.
Okay. I'm going to try one more time. Here we go. Now, this word dynamic, folks, if you're not familiar with Scientology. So I know, Aaron, you don't care here, but a dynamic, Hubbard defines dynamic as the dynamic thrust into time and space of an individual, a species, or a unit of matter or energy, especially defined for the purpose of dynamics as survive. This is the dynamic, okay? So there's a sentence here. The measurement and increase of the dynamic is the practice and study of dynamic dynetics, which subject is not included in this manual. Because the original thesis used to be called abnormal dynetics. And I skipped over this sentence thinking that's not important, whatever. That's not relevant to philosophy. And then I just checked the glossary because I don't like the glossaries in these books because they were actually not written by Aaron Hubbard. They're written by or overseen by David Miscavige. And I just find a lot of the definitions in the glossaries to be particularly still manning Hubbard's position. So if he says something, they'll redact. I've got examples in my 2019 book where they redact the definition of Henry Bergson and Alain Vital when Hubbard's talking about him in relation to theta mesh theory. Because if you look at the dictionary definition of Alain Vital or Henry Bergson, it's so obvious that it's connected to theta mesh theory and that Hubbard's taking from Henry Bergson that I think they wanted to remove that information from the definition. So they give you a glossary definition that makes it look like Hubbard still came up with this system all on his own. Do you understand what I'm throwing down there?
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but in the original thesis, there's actually it says LRH. I don't like saying LRH, but there's an LRH glossary. So it's actually his definitions. And there's a definition of dynamic dynetics. It's 2 sentences. It says the science, I don't like science. And he'll talk about this claim to science later, by the way, folks. And that's something else I'll cover on my channel. He actually regrets it. The science of the basic dynamics of the individual and his basic personality. This is dynamic dynetics. At this writing, that branch of dynetics most intensely under observation and research is this one. And if you think about that definition, the basic dynamics of the individual and his basic personality, that's Scientology. So it seems to me, and this, I know, Aaron, maybe you don't care that much, but it seems to me that in 1948, Hubbard's already thinking about a Scientology. But of course, he loses. Like, my point here is, maybe if he never lost the rights to Dynetics in the early 50s, maybe Scientology would just be called Dynamic Dynetics, and we would have never heard of the word Scientology.
That's actually a really good point. That's actually a really good point.
We would have never had a Scientology. It would just be called Dynamic Dynetics. And I just think, I read it and I went, holy shit, that is deep and interesting. And this is the sort of stuff I want to do on my channel. So if you want to hear stuff like this, watch the blue videos. If you want to hear every little bit of philosophy I come across within reason, because otherwise it'd just be too many videos, what I do is when I can, I pre-record like 4 or 5 in a night because they're so short, and I just schedule them to release every night at 8 o'clock
Instead of doing
time.
blue videos and white videos, maybe you should make them blue and red.
Why?
Blue pill and red pill.
Which one? I always forget this analogy. Which one's the one that he takes? It's the red pill, or it's the red pill, right? No, it's the blue pill. I don't know.
I think the red pill is the truth.
The red pill is the truth.
I don't remember, honestly. But people but in popular culture, though, I keep seeing reference to red pilled. You never see blue pilled. So red pilled must mean I finally learned the truth.
Are you sure? Because red pilled might also just mean
I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. Let me look it up. Define red pilled. It's crazy. It actually says here, someone who has watched Jason Horvatic's videos. That's unbelievable. Did you do that?
Sorry, what? I missed it. Sorry, what was it?
I said, Jason, you're not going to believe this. It actually says here on Google, someone who has watched Jason Horvatic's videos.
I'm sure it does, Aaron. I'm sure it does.
Okay, here's what it actually says. To cause someone to have their perspective dramatically transformed, especially by introducing them to a new and typically disturbing understanding of the true nature of a particular situation. That's definitely being unplugged from the matrix.
Yeah. I just think if I do that, some people might think that I'm saying that, he's reading this stuff out and saying that if you understand this stuff, you're getting the red pill, which is not. I don't want to be associated with that. I'm not saying that.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah, you get it right. I'm not trying to.
You're going to be right in there with J.K. Rowling if you start saying shit like that. You don't want that.
I don't want to go down that path.
By the way, do Australians consider British people to be one of their own?
I do. I don't like. We're all individual people, right? And I can't speak for everyone, but I do. I have a particular soft spot for their accents. I think they're lovely people. They're kind of all really our great. They're all related to us in a way, or maybe there's immigration. That's a silly thing to say. That
was racist. That was unconsciously racist right there.
Whatever.
I'm calling you out on that. I'm calling you out on that, and I'm canceling you forthwith. No, but hold on. There was a question I meant to ask you earlier.
We still have the king, right? We used to have that's our royal family too. We're part of the Commonwealth. Yeah.
Okay. Now, there's a lawsuit. One of the 5 civil lawsuits pending against Scientology is brought by 3 people who currently reside in Australia. And I just want to know
Valeska and Gawain.
You know Valeska and Gawain?
I knew Valeska from the Sea Org. She gave me an ethics interview. She was in Senior H Show Anzo for a while. She gave me an ethics interview. And when I later had a commev and they tried to bring up something from the ethics interview, I was able to throw out the ethics interview because she had then been declared. So I was like, she's been declared. You can't bring that up.
I'm gonna send this interview to Valeska so that
she probably remembered me because I was a real I was at that time posted in the CPLO, and I don't know if you're aware, but the way they sold books was a little bit off kilter. And it was my job to try and manage a warehouse that was receiving all these books from Bridge, because the shipping system would automatically send all sold packages from Bridge to the Anzo warehouse. So we had a warehouse literally full to the door. To get into the warehouse in the morning, I'd have to pull out all the aisles of pallets if it wasn't raining into the driveway just to get in. So I viewed the people doing these dodgy sales as suppressive people, because I was like, you're actually suppressing me sending actual books out to people who do want them, few as they are. So Valeska at this time gave me an ethics interview because the execs who are all doing this dodgy sales stuff all pretty much wanted to go me, and I was pretty clean at that time. So I think I told them to fuck off or something. Like I Anyway, so Valeska knows me from that. Gwaine I had over my house a couple times last year before he had started the lawsuit.
You had a full-blown SP over to your house?
Well, he wasn't declared at that time. He was just...
I feel like that lawsuit's been pending for more than a year, no?
Oh, well, okay, whenever... Anne, maybe we can get her in there. When did we have Gwaine over Anne?
Jason, can I just say?
Yeah.
You had me at CPLO.
When did we have Gwaine over? 2 or 3 years ago. Correct me. There we go. 2 or 3 years ago.
Can I ask? Is the only reason you don't know Laura is because she's a German?
Who's Laura? Is that his wife?
Yeah.
No, she was here too. Sorry, I just didn't speak as much with her. I mainly spoke with Gwaine.
Now that's chauvinist as fuck. I cannot abide.
Well,
you don't remember the woman. You don't remember his wife.
Sorry, but I knew Gwaine through a mutual friend.
Sorry.
And
I'm getting notes of J.K. Rowling. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I knew you were joking, but I can explain that we invited a mutual friend over for a barbecue, and he said, "Oh, do you want to meet Gwaine? He's also a former Scientologist." And I said, "Yeah, sure, send him over." And then he came with his whole family. So we thought it was going to be a boys' night, playing cards and whatever. And all of a sudden, a mum walks up they had 3 young kids, and it was fine, but it was a bit like
they have 3 kids. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, 3 youngs, a little bit older than ours.
Wow.
So she was mainly looking after the kids, honestly, and then we were having discussions with Gwaine because I had just met him, and I was like,
that has all sorts of gender implications. I think you need to pump the.
You can't get me with this. I get this at uni all the time. I just hear these conversations all the time. I'm very good at dodging this sort of stuff. I hope. Because otherwise I would have been fired from uni. All
right. Well, let me just point out the former Scientologists are procreating 10 times faster than the current Scientologists, that there's no way they're ever going to clear the planet. I mean, it's not even, I mean, the former Scientologists are pumping out kids like they're just Tic Tacs.
We're trying to stop it too, but
I've got 3. Right. I mean, everyone I can think of has like 3 or 4. And the Seer members have, 0 to negative numbers.
To negative. Is that when they like adopt one away or something? Oh, let's not go there.
You know what I mean.
I do. I do. It's dark. Yeah. I think that particularly when we go in young. So I first went in when I was 15, and first went in when she was 15 as well. You were what, 12 or 15 when you were in the Sea Org, or pretty young, right?
No. I joined staff when I was 12. I didn't join the Sea Org until I was 22. Okay,
but as a young guy, usually guys don't think about kids at 22. I mean, I'm sure there's many exceptions, but
do you know what's funny? Even as a young young boy in grade school, I always wanted children. Isn't that a weird?
Oh, really?
That's weird, right?
That's cool, man. That's cool.
I honestly remember at that young age how much I wanted kids.
Maybe you're following your basic purpose, Aaron.
Exactly.
But for me, joining at 15, it was like, you can't have kids. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I just didn't care. Like, I was like, can I bring a guitar? That was the one thing. It wasn't that one. I would try and reach it. There's a Fender back there, but I won't move the mic anyway. But that's my guitar from when I was 18. And that was the one thing I was like, can we bring that? Because I wanted to play the Bosun's Party. So, I'll tell you a story about the Sea Org.
Okay.
Which involves this sort of stuff. So the Bosun's Party, we played Zeppelin. We played Whole Lotta Love, Stairway to Heaven, and Rock and Roll. And the bass player was the husband of the COOSA. That's why, remember I told you when I sent my book to the church, or I didn't send it to them beforehand, but I told them I was writing a book on Scientology. Yeah. This is because I knew the COOSA personally through the bass player. So the COOSA would come out sometimes and like watch us pre-performance, be like, oh, you could do this, and what about this? And anyway, so we played these 3 songs at the Bosun's Party, and I'm like, okay, so I got to be Jimmy Page. So I went down to the local like op shop and found an old the
Bosun's Party usually results in a few people getting RPF'd.
Never an Anzo that I had seen, never. In fact, one of my dad's ex-partners who was in the Sea Org used to get so drunk and she would mouth off at the CMO while she was drunk. She'd be like, oh, you fucking pigs.
Well, mouthing off won't get you RPF, but sucking dick will.
Oh, yeah. If you, oh, right. Okay. Well, I never saw anyone get RPF'd after a bosun's party in Anzo. But anyhow, so I'm not going to drink to that. I'm going to have some water.
This is water. Everything in this glass is water.
Sure. So, what was I going to say? All right. So, okay. So I went down to the op shop and I found me like an old grandma blouse that was red with the height. What do they call? You know, the shoulders that go up. You know,
epaulets.
No. Like it's not epaulets. It's a style
shoulder
of dress.
pads. Shoulder pads.
Yeah, it's like shoulder pads, and they sort of stick it there more square. And it was too small for me, which was perfect because I don't like playing with long sleeves because the sleeves can mute the strings.
I hear you.
And it wouldn't close either. So it was well too small for me. It was and because I'm 6'3" or something like that. And I thought that's perfect because Jimmy Page wore an open shirt a lot. So I walk up onto the bosun's party stage in this blouse thing, right? Drunk as a skunk, on tequila, and I had the bottle with me. So we played the show. I'm there with this like flaming embroidered blouse, and afterwards I'm walking around with a bottle of tequila which had about that much left in it. And I had been sharing this bottle of tequila with two or three of my other friends. So it wasn't actually me drinking at all. And I'm just walking around with it like this after the show. And the RTC rep, Jenny Porter, she just looks at me and then she just looks away because she knew me, and she knew if she said something, I'd just say, fuck off.
She knew you were going to the RPF the next day.
I was not RPF. Nothing happened. All that happened was Dale Pasley, who was a hilarious CMO guy, who was married to the CEO CMO. He was trying to get me to do some shipping the next day or something. And I was like, nah, so I'm not going to do that. Whatever. Nah. And he's like, oh, I'm Jason. Don't tell me what to do. I'll do a guitar solo in the mezzanine. You know, like that was his joke on me. You know, I was going to go do guitar solos in the AO mezzanine. Anyway, so that's my little bosun's party story. So and we've spoken about this a little bit before, but my Sea Org time wasn't that bad. I was never RPF'd. I was never even put on ethics or on the decks. I was never given
never put in ethics.
I put myself into ethics a few times by just refusing to work anymore. But no one ever did anything to me that I was like, you can't do that. I just disagreed. I was like, nah. One time my senior told me to go to the galley and I argued with the security for like an hour until I broke my senior and she basically stormed off. And at that point I went to the galley because I was like, great, I won. Then I went to the galley and did some dishes, which I was like, fine, I don't mind doing dishes. No one ever. So one time so I was in the shipping department, which is in the books department, which is shipping section books department, which is department 4 or 5
for the AO.
Yeah, for the AO. Which one's department 4 or 5? So I was in the AO and then I got promoted to the CPLO. Which one's the books department?
5 is publications.
Okay, so 4 is promo and 6 is reg. So at that time, whenever the basic sales were down, the whole division would get put on beans and rice. Except for when Div 2 got put on beans and rice, it was just Department 6. They left me and my junior and like 3 guys who were in. There was no one in Department 4. There was like 4 of us in Department 5 doing shipping and general admin and stuff. And just Department 6 got put in on beans and rice. And I am positive it was because they knew that I would have actually started a fight with the cook. I would have just walked up and taken the regular food. And I am not fucking around. If they tried to stop me, I would have just fucked someone up because that's just who I was. I was like, just fuck off. I am doing my job. And I always used to, I used the Keys to Competence references. Did you ever do the Keys to Competence course?
Of course. That's on product 1.
Product one. That's an extremist course. That's a course that makes you an extremist. And
I was already an extremist, so I don't even remember what the fuck was on the course.
Okay, so I was too, but that course really amped it up. So after I had done that
have you heard me say that only SPs have true OT powers?
No, what's the joke there?
Well, it's not a joke, but the joke in this live stream is that we've been going for 2 hours. I've had an entire bottle of wine and half a gallon of water, and I haven't taken a piss yet.
That is OT as fuck, man. You should write a success story.
No, because I have to piss really bad.
Oh.
Well,
I feel like we've said everything. Unless you want to take a piss and come back, I'm happy to keep talking.
My wife want to keep talking?
Yeah. You want to take a piss? Do you want me to see if I can get Anne in here while you're taking a pee?
All right, go for it.
All right, and then everyone on the live chat has to try and. I can't see the live chat, folks. So this is well more people than I speak to on my channel, so I'm a little bit nervous. But I'll have a quick drink, and I'm sorry I can't see the live chat. But Anne, if you're watching and you want to come join me, we could do our own live stream on Aaron's channel for free. We could say whatever we want. His chair's empty. In fact, Aaron, if Aaron doesn't come back, then technically you're not speaking to an SP, even though I'm an SP. But a big baddie like Aaron. So you could come in if you want, Anne. And anyway, I think there's like a 10, 20-second delay on the live feed. She's listening on her headphones. So we'll see if she wants to come in. No, that's just my daughter. She's one. She's very cute. Oh, here we go. Handle's turning. You coming in? Do you want to just say hello? What about your voice without you appearing? Is that allowed? Because Aaron's taken a long piss. Hey, sweet. Hello, sweetie pie. Yeah. That. She's just turned 1, and she's gorgeous. I wish we could show her to you. So Anne is in the room with Lily, but
can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you. But she doesn't want to come over. I can't use my SP powers to coax her, unfortunately.
Oh. Okay. Now
she says hello.
Hello. My speaker's messing up, so give me a sec.
Yeah, Aaron's just come back.
Testing.
How fast? How big is the delay? How long is the delay? I can hear you, Aaron.
Hold on.
That. 30 seconds.
There you go.
Yeah. No, nah, she won't do it. But she says hello.
What did I miss?
I got very nervous because I was here on my lonesome, and I just invited Anne in. I said that Anne could come in, and we could do a chat on Aaron's channel without Aaron, and then she's not talking to Aaron. That was the invitation I offered her.
Yeah, the church wouldn't care at all.
No. Do you think they'll kick up a stink because her hand was in the video?
Oh, have you guys literally not had any increased bullshit from Scientology since you came on my channel? Like none at all?
Zero. And wow. I think it is because there is a sort of mutual respect between us. And I know when I say that, you can think, how could you respect the Church of Scientology? But there is like a ceasefire or I don't particularly talk about them.
I got to be honest, in this day and age, that wouldn't even surprise me. They're losing so many fucking people so fast that they're looking for any excuse not to declare people.
Well, if they declare Anne, then her mum has said openly, no one's fucking telling me who I can talk to. No one's telling me I can't talk to my kids. She's openly said that before. So then they've got a potential divorce on their hand between her and the father, because he is like total a-hole narcissist Scientologist. And then, but Anne's mum is the sister of the DED Perth and the auntie to the two girls who is like, one's Ian Rafako's ex, who's an auditor, or is she something else now? I don't know. She's one of these auditors who never really does any auditing from what I can gather. And then the other sister who, anyway, yeah, the fallout is huge. And I think it's one of the reasons they took a long time to declare me. They were kind of thinking, geez, and if we do this is bad. And they did themselves a massive disservice, because when I was in the limbo land not declared, I wasn't going on any podcasts or channels or anything. I put up the occasional blog post that would poke a little bit of like poke the bear a bit, but I was subdued and in control. And then when they declared me, I was like, great, now I can do what I want. Like, what do you got now? You got nothing, no hold. The hold was gone, right? It's like, so if they declare Anne, we'll definitely have a party and have a chat.
We'll do a live stream for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jason, we've gone 2 hours. No one on YouTube usually likes to watch anything beyond 2 hours.
Okay.
I mean,
so we just
Joe
stayed back
Rogan,
to watch you pee, really, or to not watch you pee, but
you wish. Okay, look, you and James Packer both wish. Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right, Aaron.
Look, this was an absolute blast.
It was. I've just got to refill my bottle.
Oh my God.
Did you think I was drinking tequila scotch this whole time?
You son of a bitch. You weren't even drinking anything. Oh, you are a piece of shit.
I'm not an alcoholic, Aaron. I'm not an alcoholic.
You fucking deserve it, dude.
You should just hang up on me now, not even say goodbye.
I knew there was something wrong with you drinking whiskey at 7 o'clock in the morning. I was like, nobody would do that.
And just sculling it down too. Like, no, like.
Oh,
so this is an old bottle. And
oh my God.
It's full of apple juice.
You know, for the viewers, it was his idea to even drink on this stream. It's not, I didn't propose it. I'm trying to lose weight, bro. I didn't need to drink a fucking bottle of wine. God damn. You got me.
Someone, well, you brought out the beer in the second one. And I thought,
oh my God.
Fuck him, I'm going to get him back to this.
Oh, that's right. We did drink on the second one, didn't we?
No, you brought the beers uninvited. You said, I've got some friends here for help. And I said, well, I've got no help. And when you did that, I thought straight away, I want to get Aaron back. And I was debating whether to do the big reveal, but I thought, I don't want people to think I'm an alcoholic unnecessarily. Thanks, Jen.
Just for that, Jason deserves some subscribers. Just for a good prank, well played.
What are we up to?
Subscribe
Do you want to give it a refresh?
Scientology philosophy. Go and do it, guys. I know you don't want to. You got 100 subs. How about that? There you go.
That's fantastic, guys. Well, I'll probably lose 50 in the next few weeks, but that's fine.
Just don't say L. Ron Hubbard is a great guy. Don't say he was a great father. Don't say he only had 2 wives.
Aaron, remember, a Hubbardless Scientology philosophy. You might like that video. It's only like 3 minutes long or something. It's on my channel.
Oh,
I read out the blog post.
Look, we got to make a pact. Next stream, your wife joins us.
I can't make that pact for her. Okay,
that's fair. I knew as soon as I said it, it wasn't fair for me to ask.
I will.
People keep saying I'm still drinking. This is water, guys. This was the alcohol. This is the water.
Maybe this is all Scotch whiskey in here. Maybe it's just all whiskey, and I'm just
so you pulled a double prank
from the trauma of what happened to me in the church. This is my solution.
Do you know what our best stream will be? When we actually talk about how Scientology fucking destroyed both of your families, just like it destroys almost every other Scientologist family.
Yeah. Well, my dad passed in 2014, and he and my mum were divorced since I was 6 months old. My mum has been out of it for 20 or 30 years. She's out. Yeah, so she was a Class 5 grad auditor in Sydney Day. She was one of their great auditors pre-Golden Age of Tech, and then Golden Age of Tech came out in 1996, and she just went, I can't do this. They wanted her to retrain. I was, 96, I was 10 at the time. Look after me because she was split from dad, who was an exec in the Sydney org. So she's been out since then, 96. So it's whatever that is. I can't use alcohol as an excuse anymore, or can I? For me not doing math. Was that
27 years?
Yeah. So, she doesn't, she's kind of like Anne. She's just like, can we just move on? Can we just get on with our lives? She doesn't, my mother has gone on to an entirely different life path. She was a professional skydiver for many years. She's way cooler than me. She's part of world record, like where they like link up and there's, 70 people in the sky.
I've jumped 26 times.
Oh, really? Okay. I was pushed out once. And when I say pushed out, I went up with mum and
you did the tandem.
And I got to the edge of the plane and I was 16 and my legs just gave out on me. I was like, I cannot tell my body to jump out of this plane. And then the guy just jumped and he even did a few flips because he thought that would be funny. Yes. So mum's she's cool. She's now like a rural firefighter in rural New South Wales.
By the way, the live chat has formed a consensus that you've actually been drinking your own piss this whole live stream.
Fucking hell.
And I think you deserve that. I truly do.
Is that because I got you? They're trying to get me back. Well, they're your fans, aren't they? Yeah. Don't make me hurl. Have you had anyone hurl on your channel before?
What's that?
Have you had anyone vomit hurl on your channel before? I nearly did. Just them.
Nah.
Yes. But my family, therefore, because Dad has passed, and none of my uncles or grandma or anyone on that side is in Scientology. In fact, they all kind of like, that was always weird. Glad you're out of it. So really, it's been okay from my side. But Anne, yeah, if you get Anne on here, you'll get a story. You'll get a story.
Yeah.
And also,
well, one day we'll do that story.
Yeah, and also there is a difference. I know we spoke about consent before, and I just want to make about child consent, like consenting to doing Scientology. Because I had said like, well, I joined when I was 13. I signed the seal contract willingly and whatnot. And I wasn't trying to make an argument that it's legally okay or it should be okay. What I'm just trying to point out is there is a psychological difference. So for Anne, she was dragged into the course room on the weekends crying through her school years. There is a different trauma associated with that and me going, yeah, let's go. I'm not saying either one is worse from the parents' point of view. I'm just saying that for me, psychologically, it wasn't traumatizing in that way because I wanted to. But Anne,
it's totally fair.
Yeah, and she's had, anyway, maybe I'll just let her tell a story, but she's had a rough one of it, which is probably also why she's probably a little bit hesitant to come on. But I think it's mainly the mum. Yeah.
Totally fair. I think I emailed you a link to the live stream that me and Sterling and Mike Brown did. And I think when your wife watches that live stream, she will be dying to come on and do something similar. Because we had so much fun. Even though we were talking about serious subjects, there's something about just doing it as a group. I mean, I think, you can always find the humor in any situation.
Totally.
I emailed it to you.
Yeah, no, I've got it here. Yeah.
Cool.
I shall watch.
All right. I had a blast tonight. I hope you did too.
I had a blast this morning. I'm going to go to take Anne to a nice big breakfast because I've got to soak up all this alcohol. And then I'm going to go have drinks with Linda.
He even told me before we started the stream that his solution to drinking in the morning was going to be to go eat a big breakfast. He had me fooled the entire time. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us this evening. This has been a lot of fun, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
See ya.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.